Good morning. Welcome to Admiral Markets, the broker that is recommended by 90% of the people where they're asked if they would recommend it to others. We're going to take a look at a strategy webinar today at this, I think it is the 8th of July, and basically focus on creating a strategy, perhaps, or any other focus that you would like to have. We can talk about fibs, maybe about moving averages. I don't have any specific preference. So if you do, let me know. Be aware though that this webinar is intended for a global audience and may not be suitable for everyone. Please find out more information about the charting conditions and if it is suitable for you by visiting admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity. Also, trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for all traders and investors. Therefore, please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is for informational and educational purposes only, and by continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer. Alrighty, good morning, Caitlin. Good morning, everyone. We're going to take a look quickly at the economic calendar. Apparently, on Sunday, there's going to be a meeting not only with the Eurozone members, but the whole EU, in fact. And apparently, a new request or any ideas or plans from Greece are expected by Thursday, I believe, as far as I read in this morning's information. Alrighty, well, looking at July the 8th, what do we have today? FOMC meeting minutes, that's the main one today. Otherwise, all green and yellow news. Let me try to see what the next days are up to. Aussie pound news, that's tomorrow. Bank interest rates on Thursday. Friday, CAD unemployment. So pound, big news pound on Thursday and big CAD news on Friday. All right, and then of course, be careful with the euro, especially before the weekend and during the weekend and after the weekend, probably because of all that uncertainty with regard to the eurozone. Alrighty, let's take a look at the charts. Euro dollar made the downside yesterday. Let's see, that was somewhere here. Didn't like the euro dollar that much because I thought the space was limited. The euro yen looked better. The euro yen did move down nicely. I got 63 pips out of it, and perhaps you got the full target. I don't know. The target was a bit lower than I exited. My target was set about plus 90, and the euro weakness did push the euro yen nicely down. Here you can see on the 50-minute chart that ultimately I just went out of my target a bit earlier. For those that hanged in, I just took this momentum here, and I was anticipating this bit of a pullback. I didn't want to live through that pullback actually because I was so close to the target, so I took the profit. We got a bit of a pullback, but then we still got the follow through to my target at least, and then even more so. And sometimes these yens really push through, and in fact fell a whopping 160 pips, and the pound yen even more so. So that was a nice trade. Could have been even more, but I was still happy. And I know that at least one person caught the trade, so that's great. I hope that some of you as well managed to get some pips. Now, I wish in a way that I would have taken some others as well because the Aussie and the pound fell, but the pound didn't give the pullback I was hoping for. So that was a bit pithy yesterday, but still one trade better than nothing. Euro dollar, ultimately expecting the downside, but because of the space seems a bit limited compared to the euro yen, and that was in fact true. Although it did move almost 100 pips, the euro yen still moved a bit more, but not bad for the euro dollar. 100 pips did make a very strong rebound though after that, and because of that, we did break this trend line. No. But how did we break it? With not much of a convincing 4-hour candle. There's a big wick here. So I don't consider that a very big break or not a break at all. Maybe a bit of a false break. As long as we stay above this bottom, 108.25-ish, ultimately we could still be in a bouncing spot. On the euro dollar at least. Now, it's a tad difficult at the moment in the sense that despite this up impulse, it doesn't have to mean that we'll necessarily follow through, but there's definitely that chance. All right, so from that point of view, a trend line like this, for instance, could indicate the potential for upside. All right. Now, for downside, I think a break below this particular bottom would be needed to get the follow through to the downside. Something similar like here, for instance. So I would say that those are the two key levels, right here and probably right here for downside or upside break. Whether it's really desirable to trade, I don't know, but it is possible to trade it, in my opinion, to the upside and make a reversal trade just because of the impulse that is visible, and there could be a zigzag that could bring price up to the minus 618 target, for instance. When using fib sequences, you can see price managed to get up to the third level, which is a pretty decent level. So if it manages to break above the third, there is that space to the fourth, and maybe later on up to the fifth level. And then the space becomes wider. Let's see, Björn is saying that Jody Forrester would like to, she likes to, no, she says the same like me, that she expects to see variable up now. Sorry, I was getting confused. Yeah, cool. And yeah, that is a 50 fib. It is a momentum. And well, I mean, we've had momentums before like this here. Ultimately, kind of like had an attempt but failed here, then still went down. But this did have a bit, maybe even a bit more spunk to it. So I think that's a decent chance indeed. Now, pound dollar also had momentum like this. And that's why I was definitely open to the upside, but we didn't get it. And actually still broke down after breaking this. So it's always good to keep an eye on those trend lines, because in that case, also both were possible yesterday. I think the same would be valid today with the euro. But indeed, the ABC zigzag certainly a potential. If that does happen, we would be also kind of filling in the space here between the 21 EMA band and the 144-ish band, 144, 169, and between the fib sequences. That's the space here to the upside. Space to the downside, if we break back below this 109.70-ish, would be here and here to test this 108.25 again, right? That will be the space to the downside. And then here one more time to the upside if we break above the long-term moving average. So those are the spaces. Let's see where it goes to. That's the good thing, in the sense that I don't care, I don't mind in this case. Sometimes I only want to trade one side. In this case, it's possible. And we'll let the currency decide wherever it wants to go. We will kind of flow with it. That's always the best, I think, to let the currency do whatever it wants to and have a plan ready for when it does reach our decision levels. Alrighty, let's see. You got some other comments. Let's see. Roshan, 50 plus pips. 50 plus pips. Great stuff. Great job. Very happy to hear that. Good morning, Jen. Good to see you. And BT is asking, do you put limit orders? You could. Because it's a reversal trade, I don't think I will. I would want to see a 1 hour candle like this with a strong close. Even a 4 hour candle is possible as well. Something like that. Look for retracement of the 4 hour candle and up it goes. Yeah, I think a pending maybe below this could make a bit more sense because the momentum is already down. So, but even here with this fractal, a candle, is worth it. I like the candle close because it gives me more confirmation, more information that price not only is breaking through it, but that the side that I'm looking to trade with is in control of that time frame. Let's say I was looking for a break on the daily chart here. Then a break like this would not inspire me too much, for instance, just to give an example. So waiting for the close is indeed useful. In many cases, I do believe. Alrighty. Now the pound dollar is a bit different. The pound dollar, because it had such a momentum to the downside, there is a chance to fill this gap, but there's no divergence at all. From a wave perspective, this is more like a 1, 2, 3, 4, like I said in this morning's wave analysis. So from that point of view, um, if anything, it is better aligned for a downside. And yesterday was already a great downside. Didn't give the pullback I was hoping for, and this could be another setup for downside. I will wait 3 more minutes, see if how this candle reacts. Could be worth a short right there, in fact. Yesterday I avoided it because the London Open, I always have some doubts about that with the pound dollar specifically. But ultimately, if you look at the moving averages, this was a good engulfing twin with the close below the band. And maybe I was a bit too precise for saying, okay, I'll wait for the hook back and maybe just an entry. In any case, an entry just based on those engulfing twins below the moving averages here with the stop loss below the 1 hour top, you can see would not have been bad. Maybe by using multiple time frames, I kind of like over analyzed it and missed the trade because of that. Oh well, what can you do? You can't catch them all, but it is a pity, and ultimately went for a nice ride. I think that looking at this morning, there's that chance to get a follow through to the downside. Down to 153.30. Because it looks like we're below the 61.8 now. Four hour does not have divergence as yet. It's converging here. I'm not sure where you see it. Maybe if you look at these bottoms, maybe. Like this, you mean? RSI? Okay. Maybe. Let me check something here. Well, I think that as far as I can see, I think a break of this bottom is very likely. 154. But the question is how much? It could be a quick break, just a tad below it, and it makes a recovery already. It could happen. It could be a very mild break. That's the only risk I see. I do think that the chances of this 154.08 breaking is high, but it might not get to 153.30 quickly. It might be a choppy downside. It might break 154.08 by a bit and then bounce up and bounce down and do something like this. Something like that. I would not be surprised to see a choppy downside to the 78.6. That's the only kind of disadvantage I see with trading it. But definitely still in a downside momentum. There have not been a ton of candles here. Oh, only 3, 4, so it's still in that downside. Alrighty. So let's see. I think it's, I mean, it's worth an attempt here, even though it might not go so far. We just have to keep an eye on it. There's no pound news, right? So let's see. Thinking about a market order or just maybe a small pending order. Let me take a look at the 5. Looks like the market order was the answer, but well, now I'm not taking a market order. I've waited too long. It's already 18 pips away from where I wanted to take it. So let me place a pending. Now, the cool thing is that you know the mini terminal of it's an edition, Supreme edition here. So let me use that. The cool thing is you can calculate the lots. Wait, let me do that first actually. The stop loss, if I put a pending here at 24 with the stop loss at 70 is about 45 pips. Okay. Okay. So I can put a pending 154.24. Well, 54.70. I'll leave these open. Let's see if it makes that pullback. Alrighty. Otherwise, besides these majors, I did take the dollar CAD based on this break of the moving averages. We see that price had a very good momentum up. Here too, broke the moving averages here, made a good rally, made an ABC zigzag, and now seems to be making the same recovery. So I took the breakout here as well, and that's up a bit. Kiwi could be the same thing. In fact, that too making a nice fall yesterday. but then it was over that after that fall, made a kind of correction. It could be lined up to Aussie. Same thing yesterday too. It had a good break. It actually here we're looking at it made a fall and then this correction in the meantime continuing lower again. But that has already happened. So the continuation break was here. So that was a while back. So this one has moved away from that breakout. But the Kiwi hasn't. So the Kiwi is still an option, just like the dollar CAD has not moved all too far. And the pound dollar, actually, this was the breakout candle and was maybe overanalyzing it for pullback again. But yeah, now I really want to pull back because it broke the bottom here. Let's see what else. Euro dollar would have to break below this bottom. Euro yen. Euro yen, same thing actually. That was also a breakout right here. And that was a good, that could have been entry too actually. A lot of entries, too many at the same time now. But the euro yen was a breakout too, right here with a candle close clearly below the band. Kind of breaking this trend line here. So here too, I think a pending makes sense. But maybe the pound yen is a bit better. Let me take a look. Pound yen, oof, also moved already a lot. Same story here. Early breaks this morning. That happened about an hour ago. Alrighty. Thinking about, well, the euro yen has the disadvantage that the euro dollar is stuck in this. That's the disadvantage. I like the pound yen more, but the pound yen has moved a lot. But still, I think it makes more sense probably depending on the pound yen than the euro yen. So let me see if we can get some kind of pullback perhaps. It has moved away a lot. And the pound yen can certainly move a lot. Let me take a look. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Going to the seventh sequence here already. But I mean, the pound yen is certainly able to do that. It really travels a lot. So it has enough space apparently. So from that point of view, maybe this is kind of a supply and demand zone here. I don't know if it can get that far and that deep, but maybe this bottom again would be a nice equilibrium point for downside. Let me check the Camarilla. Below the L4. Yeah, looks good to me. So I don't see any objections, so I'll put a pending order. Let's see. Maybe, it makes sense to either pound dollar or pound yen, or see which one gets filled first, if any. Looking for the stop loss now. use the 3/4 75 level, just go a bit above this. I think should be enough. In 188.85 perhaps. Pending at about 20, it's about 65 pips. But with the pound yen, it's difficult to avoid. Maybe 80 is enough. 80, yeah. Alrighty. So let's see. Alrighty. It is a deep pullback, so I'm not that sure if I can get there. Let's see, the pound dollar has a bit better chance, maybe. It's getting close already. Problem is that it broke the bottom already. That's a bit annoying. So that might not be that useful anymore. Let me double check here. Let's see. Looking at the 1 hour chart, yeah, now that the bottom is broken, we might get to the scenario where I was actually scared of, that we get a bottom break and that it does the opposite. Let me check. All right, I'm going to delete the pending here. Okay, I deleted the pending. I'm going to keep an eye on this 15-minute chart. I want to see this 15-minute candle. 2 more minutes. We had a lot of questions. Let's see. Let me answer some or all of them. Let's see. Pound 152.35. Let's see. It's possible. 152.50 is 88.6 fib. So it could get to 152.50. Maybe 32, but I mean from my fib point of view, 50 would be 150.50 would be then a potential target there. 153.30 though is the first barrier because of the 78.6. Kiwi is not breaking to the downside. Dalian finally broke through 122. Anyone who was looking at that too was a good breakout about 2 hours ago. Many breakouts already in the early session here. Dollar CAD inching forward, not too much though at the moment. Especially the pound is breaking. I want to see how this 15-minute candle reacts to this bottom. Might put back the pending order. I still leave the pound yen because besides the pound, the yen is dragging it as well. That's a bit of a difference. All right, let me see. Let me go back to the pound dollar. Let's see how this candle closes. Not bad. It's bearish, first of all, so I don't have anything at the moment against shorting it. So I'll put back the short. Let me think. No, wait. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a zigzag here. I'll aim for the minus 618 target here, 28. Five-minute zigzag back to 28. Let's see. So this is placing a fib on the very first 1 minute impulse that we have here. Let's see if we can get this formation for more downside. As soon as there's a 15-minute bullish candle, though, I would delete any pending order, or if I'm in the trade, I would get out. I think there could be a bit tighter stop loss, actually. I don't know why I used that. There. That makes a bit more sense. Yeah. So let's see. Maybe a bit too ambitious. Maybe the minus 272 target is more realistic. All right, anyhow, I'll keep it for that at the moment. Let's see, pound yen. All right. Aussie week today. Yeah, Aussie, yes, agree. Aussie had a good break already. Same like pound yen, dollar yen, euro odd, fantastic break through the Asian session. So, there have been good already, some good setups earlier today, indeed. Definitely. Especially the euro odd was a very nice one. Can take a look at that. Here you can see. Very nice break here around 3 my time. Yeah, moving up already some 120 pips. 15-minute chart, the break could have been here or this candle, both giving enough space for upside. Problem with those Aussies is that they've moved a lot already. So, we need a bit of a pullback. That's the thing. Looks like I was a bit too ambitious. Now I have a bit of a doubt here if we can get that deep because of the lack of a zigzag formation now. Always annoying if would have been, in retrospect, a lot easier if I just took this setup, could have put the stop loss probably, actually, if you think about it, these are good 15-minute candles, so could easily use trail stop it here or here in the meantime. Maybe not this one though. This one though. But if we can get that deep of a retracement now, I have my doubts. Let's see. Doubting I'll put it a bit lower. I don't think it's going to get that deep. So I will put it back to 22. Let me put it at, let's see, have to go all the way probably to 16 to have a chance. And I use the same 15-minute candle here at 55. All right, let's see. I don't know. It's probably going to miss it because of circumstances, but what can you do? Hopefully it pushes the cat a bit. That's the one I'm in. All right, so let me, that was a long process, but let me take a look at some questions. Alrighty. Engulfing twins. Well, engulfing twins, yeah, one of them is bigger than the other. So if they're two small ones, then I wouldn't classify it. Yesterday was a good example on the pound right here. Those are good engulfing twins. The fib is 153.30. Yes, indeed. Let's see, the moving averages, yeah, no problem. I can give you the indicator as well if you're interested. But the settings are 21 EMA close, high, and low. But I think that 34, by the way, is just as good. And the higher time frame ones are 144 EMA close plus 169 EMA close. Yes, Aussie and CAD are known to be indeed commodity currencies. So typically they will have connection with the commodity market. Yeah. Gold is approaching a big resistance. Do you think it may influence dollar movements? Let's take a look. You mean the big support level, you mean probably, right? Uh, Actually, I'm surprised to see this break to the downside here because I was looking for a potential bounce. Now, it hasn't broken entirely yet. 1140. I'm sure it's going to be 1130 is going to be difficult to crack, but they're still staying below these moving averages. That's taking me a bit by surprise. I did think that we would use this weekly support level perhaps for a bounce. Now, one of the things though that we did have was a pretty big momentum here. So ultimately, maybe that's enough to push it lower. I wouldn't be touching it now. It's too close to support and upside is a reversal. If it does break below or above this, we got some space to moving averages and then above it, breakout. If we do break below, then I think we'll be heading towards the target, which at the minimum I would expect would be the minus 272 and maybe even the minus 61.8 right here. Let's see, pound Swiss C made a good break. We talked about this triangle, I thought, yesterday, and yeah, it did make a good break. The pound making all of those good breaks. So that's about it with the current market. Let's talk a bit about strategy because it is a strategy webinar. How many of you use what is your main indicator that or tool that you or what is the main thing in general that you use for your trading plan? By the way, for those that took a look at last week's Thursday's webinar on it was last week Thursday we talked about how to build a good system without avoiding mistakes in systems. And I talked about knowing the T statistic, which helps with understanding whether a strategy is the results or strategy back testing are more based on luck or long-term sustainability. And that measurement, that's T statistic, basically, gives an idea about the distribution around the results. So if you have, for instance, you're expecting this is the average, and it's plus 20 is the average. But let's say we have 10 times we trade this. At one point we can be here, another point we could be like this, another point could be like this, another thing could be like this, another one could be like this. Point is that there are many different results that are connected to that average, and many different paths, many different developments. Those are of course called streaks and drawdowns and ups and downs, right? The T statistic calculates how widespread those different scenarios are. So the higher the T statistic, the closer all of the various results are to the expected result. So if you have a high T statistic, you might be in this band, but nothing more. If the T statistic is low, you might have this as a result, but one time you can have this, and one time you can have all the way here. And there's a very big difference, and that's not so good because that's first of all it's less profitable on average, and second of all it's more difficult on the psychology. So the T statistic helps with that. That's very good for systems, building systems, and understanding what the longevity is of it. Fortunately, though, I said anyone who's interested in that, please email me. I only had one person actually write me, so I was a bit disappointed, but I think it is very useful. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And actually, I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake. Unfortunately, I lost this file during my computer crash on the weekend. And I don't remember exactly what the slide calculated it, but it could have been a mistake in that file. So if you if you maybe wrote down that formula last week Thursday, then send me an email. And I'll send it again, okay? So anyhow, regarding webinars tonight, Dennis is going to take a look at the Range Bar Pro, and tomorrow we're going to take a look at keeping the focus, more of a psychology thing perhaps, but practical side. So let's see. Anyhow, back to systems. So that's a good thing for systems. This statistic for understanding what is a good system, first of all. Now, personally, if I would have taken this short here at the breakout candle and wouldn't have waited, then I would probably remove my stop loss here now for sure. And not yet this one, I think. A bit on the early side. The 15-minute world is showing a bearish candle. As soon as it's a bullish candle, I would get out, but hoping for a bit of retrace to the top of that candle before follow through. Kiwi is not breaking, your dollar is not breaking. It was only the pound with the classical wave 4 here. Dollar cat is up, but not much. All right, anyhow. So I got some answers here. Trend lines, Ichimoku, stochastics and moving averages, RSI, moving averages, and fibs. So let's see. Quite diverse 4 answers, and only one thing got mentioned twice, moving averages. Stochastics and RSI are like showing oversold. Oscillators, fibs. Well, let's see. What I like about creating a system is maybe, for instance, I mean, I don't want to necessarily create something from scratch here together, but let's talk about maybe Ichimoku once. That was a long time ago. And if there's any particular pair, by the way, in mind, just let me know. Let's take just a totally different pair. Maybe the Aussie yen. And that was this one. It's a pretty rules based. It's not something it's something I back tested and traded a bit, but not recently. But it's based on the Ichimoku, but only the Tenkin and the Kiyun, and it adds the parabolic on a 4-hour chart, kind of like a swing trade, big swing trade perhaps. The idea is that if the Tenkin is below the Kiyun, it's in a downtrend. It has to have an angle though, the Tenkin. As soon as it breaks through the parabolic, it's a breakout trade. So, for instance, here, this was a breakout trade with this candle. Tenkin is below the Kiyun. And you see this candle pushing through the parabolic. Now, one of the additional filters sometimes could be to look at how it breaks out, because if there's a bad breakout candle, it might not be that good. But this one is a good breakout candle, and you get a good downside. Now, there are different ways of trailing it. One way could be this parabolic 2 or 4, and in any case, I think both exit here when the candle breaks through the parabolic and the candle close. So catch is about 116 pips. The risk would be above the fractal, about 70-ish. Yeah, there are 2 on purpose, 2 and a 4. The breakout trade is could be both basically, but I think if I remember correctly, I was testing the 2, and the trail stop could be both too. I was testing and using both. Let's see. This one is not aligned, unfortunately, because it was a good one, but here we do have one. That one is a breakout. So that's an entry, and the trade is still on its way on this odd yen. And now currently up 150. Looks maybe a bit confusing, or all these dotted lines. If you think that, maybe it would be indeed good to take away the 4, for instance, just stick to the 2. Might look a bit neater like that. Ultimately, you're gonna, system like that will probably get some losses in a zone like this. It's always good to look at, of course, this is a great system if it's a breakout. sorry, if there's a trend. If there's a range like that, it could generate losses. The Tenkan needs to have an angle besides having a trend, besides being below. So this would not count right here because there's no angle to the Tenkan. This would not count. The Tenkan is not below. This would not count. The Tenkan is not below. So you see, these rules already filter out 3 trades here that do not count. This one too to the upside because there's no angle to the Tenkan. Not to the upside, obviously, because there's no uptrend here. Here too. So all of these are filtered out. Not bad. If I don't think I missed anything here. This one too, although it would have worked out. This one too, obviously, because it's against the trend. No angle to the upside. Flat Tenkan here. This one, that is a trade. Tenkan has angle, Tenkan is below the Kiyun, and we're pushing through the parabolic. So that is a setup right there. Good breakout candle. Ultimately, let's see, parabolic gets hit here, which means the exit is upon the candle close, which is here, which means that the trade closes for a small 27 profit. Let's see anywhere else. This one is a breakout. Ultimately, parabolic gets hit here, which means that one is finally the very first loss we see for about 44 pips. Here too, that is a loss too. That's a full loss. Here it's flat, it's flat, it's flat, no angle. No trade. Not bad, really. Within all of this mess, in my opinion, to have only 1.5 losses is very good. Now that could be just lucky. Maybe if we look at different zone, consolidation zone, it could be a lot worse. Seems almost too good to be true, to be honest, because normally if you have a breakout trend strategy and a mess like that, you're going to have losses if you trade very discretionary. To have only 1.5 losses in that is a really, really good result. But it's just one zone, so you have to check a few of those zones. So it's good not only to look at the strength of a system when they're trading a trend. Obviously, when we're looking at trending environments, the system is going to be very good. So it's always good to look at non-trending environments to see how the system holds up in those types of situations. That will say, give information about what kind of drawdowns the system might endure, or maybe whether it's profitable or not, because maybe all of the profits are eaten away and lost when we get zones like that. So that's maybe something that you can consider. If you like Ichimoku like Caitlin, you do, then maybe this is something for you. I don't know. Something worth maybe testing if you like it. Let's see. We got moving averages. Well, moving averages is something we talk about often. Oh, wait, I have to take a look at my pound dollar. I see I got entered here, but I don't like the momentum that it's making now. Well, 5 more minutes, and if this candle is bullish, I would exit it personally. I've trailed the stop already here, actually, above this 50-minute candle. I'm having doubts whether, as I said, I don't trust this bottom break too much. So I have a bit of hesitation of taking the trade, as you can see, because of that, and having hesitation with staying in. I would not be surprised if this candle ends up bullish. So I personally don't have much confidence in the trade. I'll exit it, but I wouldn't be surprised in 5 minutes if it's bullish. If not, then tough luck for myself. I can't do anything about it. I don't have much didn't have much faith probably as is. But the best would have been still to try it here and to see how far it could have gone. Anyhow, pound yen is still a bit better, but it's not making the pullback because it's just breaking out and breaking out. So maybe my dollar CAD, no, doesn't look too good. Kiwi not breaking. Euro dollar is, despite the dollar strength, keeping its head up and using this as support. Therefore, your yen did not move much either. All right. But anyhow, maybe I was too premature, as you can see. But moving averages we use often because I like them a lot. So basically, I use these bands, and like the euro yen yesterday, and the pound dollar, and the audio is all of them were aligned for breakouts here. You see, moving averages aligned like that. So that's very useful when trading indeed trending environments, perfect trend, good space between them, and then the break. That's something that is a good example. Caitlin, sorry, I missed your question. Yeah, definitely. Send me an email just as a reminder for myself. Okay? And I'll send you that. Which parabolic that is? 2 and 4. When I removed one, I only had 2 remaining. Um, well, it's doing better than I thought, indeed. Oh well. Let's see. What was I talking about? Yeah, so moving averages we use a lot. So I would advise just to come. We have a moving average webinar, but most of the time I use moving averages anyhow. So I personally use these settings. And then we have some other tools that were mentioned. Let's see, RSI. RSI is good. I don't have much. No, I don't have anything specific for that though. Neither stochastics. Fibs definitely, but that we have a specific. We had actually a fib webinar yesterday. It's a bit, but fibs. Yeah, they're definitely. You can use them either, very discretionary or non-discretionary. And we have a non-discretionary, but maybe you already joined that webinar, MJ. Probably did. Sometimes, as you can see, anticipating something is not the best way to go. Oh well. Euro dollar, that's about it, I guess. I don't. Anyone have a particular currency pair because we're looking at these majors all the time, but maybe there's a cross that's interesting. Let me actually add the currency indicator that looks at currencies instead of pairs. There it is. Especially the yen and the euro, indeed, showing the way. Weakest is the Aussie, but it's too weak almost. Pound coming in as a good second with a good angle. So yes, it seems like the pound yen indeed, Aussie yen, one of the better ones here. And same for the euro. Euro pound must be moving up indeed, getting a breakout. I'm not a big fan of the euro anyhow, this euro pound, sorry. But that seems to be the message of today. Dollar seems to be a bit neutral here. Kiwi too. So the Kiwi dollar is indeed going sideways. So from that point of view, I don't think looking at the the dollar CAD is therefore it makes sense that it's not going too much. Looking at the New Zealand CAD and stuff like that probably not make sense either. Maybe the biggest discrepancy here is euro odd yen, maybe the Swiss odd, pound Swiss, pound euro, pound yen, stuff like that. It's not helping us much, but all right. Anyhow, it did end up bullish. So personally, that would be my exit if I took the breakout. So it would have been only an 18 pip trade. Now that might seem drastic or quick for some of you. It's just that a bottom break like that doesn't get followed through and shows a bullish candle, even though there's a wick on top, in my experience, is often a signal of potential retracement. Now, how far that retracement will go, we don't. That's difficult to say. It could be a mild retracement, and then we see follow through, but it looks like we're going to get retracement. If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, then the retracement will be mild. We shouldn't break above this. If we do break above it, then it might. Then this might have been all, and we are making a retracement back up. Still, overall environment is bearish, though. It's a bit tricky. I know it's almost speaking in too many layers now, but point is that there's a chance of retracement, and I have to see how far that retracement can go. That's the point. We did break through the 61.8 fib, so there is a chance that pretty good chance we'll get to the 78.6. But how is the question? We might pull back first before falling. But yesterday I was too careful with the pound dollar too. Ultimately, we got a very clean break. So sometimes maybe I'm too careful with the pound and the session open, but that's probably because of times that the pound has acted a bit funny at the open. But basically, when you get a bottom break like that, a 50-minute chart, I don't know exactly the statistics, but it's been a decent amount of time that you get a pullback. Now the pullback, probably good to put a fib like this, and the 50 to 61.8 probably. If it breaks above the 61.8, I'll be cautious. Well, the candle is not necessarily a very strong bullish candle. That's true. And I don't necessarily say that the downside must be over, but from what I've seen and tested, when we get a strong momentum like this, the chances of a bottom break are very high. But once we get the bottom break, then it's good to see follow through with the momentum. And when testing, my definition of momentum ending was the first bullish candle. So unfortunately, I didn't dive into even more details like what kind of bullish candle, and if it's a weak bullish candle, what is the chance of still getting follow through? Unfortunately, that far I didn't go. Would be useful now, but that information I don't have. So those that kind of further details I don't know. It's the situation basically. If I would see this candle anywhere else, it wouldn't be too much value. It's just the particular spot. That's why. That's all. All right, let me think about my dollar CAD. It's not really pushing up that much, and the dollar and the CAD are not. It is a breakout, but the dollar and CAD are not really showing a lot of power here. So I might move that trade. To be honest, it's not showing what I want to see here. Now it could eventually still venture out to the upside here, but it's not the type of breakout that inspires me when looking at the 15. It's a breakout trade. I would like to see that impulse. So if it makes a retracement, it's not as desirable. So I think I'll just move it to break even like this. I want to see it like a euro yen trade right now. And if it doesn't happen, I might enter later on again. I think the pound yen still makes sense just because the overall trend is strong. So I think in this case, pending is an okay idea. I like market orders just because I want to see how price is behaving when it gets to my entry potential level. With the pending order, of course, I don't have that luxury, and it's just even if it's a massive bullish move, I enter. And if I see that massive bullish move, I probably wouldn't with a market order, or at least in some cases. I think the pound yen does make sense still. It's something I'll keep an eye on. So I'll leave it for the moment at least. The euro yen is a breakout that, because of the euro, probably does not look good, and I would not take dollar CAD. I would break even. Kiwi not breaking. Aussie need a bit of a pullback here. Then follow through with the Aussie might make sense. It would make sense to keep an eye on it. Same for the dollar yen if it pulls back. Same thing though, actually. Pound dollar max retracement. Well, let me say this way. If further downside is interesting, then I don't want to see it above the 61.8. So I would definitely be interested in looking for short potentials here. Not a pending order though. I want to see how price makes that upside. Funny enough, if you look at moving averages, even on the 1 minute chart, it's not something I advise to trade necessarily off of a low time frame like this. But for informational purposes, you can see price nicely staying below the 21 band. Here's the full first push above it. The weakness, the head and shoulders, even on a inverted head and shoulders, even on the 1 minute chart. And now we're using the 21 band as support, and we got the space to fill this. We got basically the space to fill up to the long-term moving average. Even on a 1 minute chart, the same principles can be used to diagnose the pair. Now, trading that is a different matter because of it's more difficult, it's faster, spread has a higher impact, etc. Right? But it's funny how the market dynamics work on a 1 minute chart even, and we're getting that break probably here. Then we have to see how price responds at this level, if more downside is likely or not. And that's a big if. I have to see. Now, I'm not saying that it becomes bullish right away if it hits 78 or 88.6 fib, 78.6 or 88.6 fib, by the way. Just saying that I'm a bit more neutral. Have to see. It still could be a good resistance spot for downside, by the way. Upside, um, not much space. Maybe above here, 154.60 up to 155-ish. Not a lot of space there. Seems like we're gaining a bit of traction here, you see, and this is what I was scared of, that I did not want to get stuck in a short right here as it starts to show the opposite kind of direction. That's why I also was saying that the breakout is a trade here, but the space could be limited. Yes, euro dollar getting a breakout. Thanks, BT. Let's take a look at your CAD, and indeed good choice, Priyan, because your CAD is positioned for an upside. Your dollar less, so. But let's see how this hourly. It's only 4 minutes. Doesn't seem likely that this hourly will push through enough for me to take that trade in those 4 minutes. But it is showing the potential. Unfortunately, probably not this hour. Maybe next hour. Euro CAD is breaking to the upside. And it was kind of already using these moving averages as support, and now it's breaking to the upside. It's actually better than the euro dollar. My dollar CAD is out, but the euro CAD actually pushing nicely. Now, it's not a typical currency I look for breakouts on the lower time frame, so I didn't really have it in focus myself, but it is a good one. Anywhere in here, probably, let's see on a 50-minute chart, we'll see that a bit better. Where could be a breakout? Well, this is a good 50-minute candle. That could have been the breakout. Took a bit long before it went though. This was a 50-minute candle nicely above the moving averages, or ultimately even a pending order somewhere here. Those could have been entries. If not in that trade, how would I tackle it? I would probably let this 4-hour candle, just forget this 4-hour candle and fib this candle probably. I don't see any other way because at this moment it's pulled away. Probably would have to wait for a 50 or 38.2 with the stop loss here. That could be one way to trade this because it is a momentum. You got bullish, 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 bullish to trade this momentum. Hope for a small pullback and try to get the follow through here. That would probably, I guess, yeah, my preferred way of trading it. Now, obviously, if this turns into a big wick, I wouldn't fib it anymore. Wouldn't trade it to the upside anymore. That's one thing, though, that to keep in mind. Pound dollar wave count. Good question. I really don't know. It could be the end of the wave 5. It couldn't. Considering the fibs, I don't think so. But this might still be wave 4 because just a small bottom break like that doesn't go too far could still mean that this is actually a wave 4 like this. And then we still get the wave 5. The short answer is it's still a question mark, actually. One of the alternatives is a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the lower time frame. But that does not seem that likely. Considering the momentum that we're seeing now, that's probably a part of the wave 4 still, and we're getting some kind of nasty bottom break that does the opposite. So if it's still a wave 4, potentially, and I'm saying wave 4 because we broke the bigger 61.8 fib with a pretty good, and we're below it. So that's why I would think that there's space to that. That's why. So we already had to turn to the 38.2 fib. So I don't expect a break of that. So we would probably, if it's still wave 4, we would probably turn anywhere between 154.50 and 154.85. Anywhere here. Anywhere there could be the resistance spot for downside. The very max 50 fib, but I don't expect it. So that entire zone is a resistance spot. Right here. Really anywhere from 154, to be honest, 154.30 up to 154, 155.10, because that's the 50-fib. I don't expect that to go there though. So 154.80ish, 75ish, and even here, it's a pretty wide zone. Anywhere there could still be the turn. We'll have to see how much this momentum goes up. At the moment, let's see, we had a good 50-minute bar, big bearish bullish candle. So I would expect follow through actually, looking at that bullish candle. So eventually, what I would probably do is put a fib on this swing high, swing low, wherever it stops. It's not finished yet. It could still go higher, but let's assume for the moment, probably be a bit higher. Let's say this candle pushes a bit higher and then makes a retracement. We'll probably go back to the 61.8, make a zigzag up to about 154.50, the minus 618 target, which then could be downside again. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles here. So this momentum is indeed over from that point of view. And I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. Unfortunately, from that point of view, cannot provide an exact plan, only a rough plan like this, what I have in mind at the moment, because it depends really on what's going to happen the next hour or two, really. Let's see, dollar CAD. I still think that the upside looks good. It's just that, yeah, there was not enough momentum right now, indeed, which I'm glad I got out, I think, because it didn't show enough steam. And if it doesn't, then we could be looking at a retracement. But after the retracement, I think that the momentum still looks sufficient. Let me take a look at, let's see, 4-hour chart here. And then the 1-hour chart. There's no divergence, but so this could still be a wave 4, I would say. Let's see how far this retracement went to. It went to the 78.6 fib. 78.6 fib. So let's see. That could mean back to this bottom here, for instance. That would not surprise me. And then the follow through, perhaps. Let me put on the fib sequence here. It's a pretty sturdy retracement there. I would still think that this could turn into a triangle, and that's a decent chance that we could see a bouncing spot roughly here. That's my main conclusion, I would say. Here, this very first part was a pretty good zigzag, went to the targets, bounced off of that. I think from that point of view, there's still that chance maybe to get a bounce here. ultimately though, if it does bounce here and moves up like this, it will probably again use the 21 band eventually. It will make an impulse like this. So somewhere in here could be a good long, or even somewhere around here could be a good long later on. Not now. That's what I think. But I mean, I do get your point though. I mean, it has pushed up a lot, and it it is from a daily point of view, of course, at a major level, has kind of a half of a shooting star on the daily chart. So those are things to be careful of, and could ultimately stop it even. From our point of view, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe one more push up to break this top. Doesn't even have to be a lot, just a small break, 25 pips above it, then it starts reversing like that. That does seem more likely, but I do understand your idea that it's getting into a kind of a territory to be cautious of, and they did extend a lot on the higher time frame for our chart, plus the daily resistance. So that is true. Alrighty. What? Yeah, there is definitely high levels here. Weekly tops already in the meantime, indeed. And well, the thing is, of course, it is kind of a big zone. 128.25 is exactly this weekly top. So there could be a small trade still on the lower time frame for about 100 pips. If uh, if that seems still a bit on the risky side because it's so close to it, I mean, that makes sense to avoid this pair. What if breaks 155.10? What does it mean in terms of wave count? Let's see. Well, then we're breaking above the 50 fib. I would say then the chances somehow I would have to relook at the fibs, but I guess then this would probably be finishing a 5 wave. And for whatever reason, we didn't respect the fibs as neatly as I would expect them to do. If you can't find it, the oil abbreviation, I think it was, um, let me check. No. Okay. By the way, in the meantime, as I do this, take a look at, if you have time, take a look at the Admiral Market Supreme. There are a lot of advantages with regard to that. The risk management, um, free SMS service, sentiment indicators, and stuff like that. Some cool stuff. So don't forget to take a look at that. The abbreviation for oil, was it something like WTI? I think. Huh. Strange. Here. Let's see. Brent and WTI. Alrighty, folks. Thank you so much for joining and for all your questions. If you have any questions about any of the material, don't hesitate to send me an email. And if you're interested, there's Nanet's Forex Range Bar Pro method, proprietary method. And tomorrow we're going to take a look at keeping your focus throughout the entire trading day. So wish you good trading and have a great day. Cheers.